Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dodgeball Podcast. Happy to be repping Arizona with this episode, for I have Dillon Clark-Oden with me. Dillon, thanks for hopping on. Let's get started. Why don't you just go ahead and just reintroduce yourself, and we'll start with what teams you currently play for.
Yeah, Dillon Clark-Oden, play for Arizona Heat, formerly known as New Breed.
Nice. I guess we can just dive into that right away. So why did you change the name from New Breed to Heat? Let's start with that question.
I don't know. We were just, me and Joseph Hogue were just talking about it, and we just couldn't be necessarily new forever. So, and we want to do something like kind of towards Arizona. So AZ Heat, if nobody knows, probably 100 degrees today. So I thought it was pretty fitting. Change up the colors too.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry. Are you familiar with the National Dodgeball League at all? Have you heard of them, the NDL?
Heard of it. Yeah.
So the Arizona team was initially the Arizona Scorchers, and I don't know why I'm bringing that up, just kind of trivial information, but generally people think Arizona, they think Heat, so that's fair. I was actually going to ask you if there's any other reason for that, but I guess Heat's what you guys stuck with?
Yeah, we were throwing a bunch of names out there, and we just want to do something with Arizona. Like, I know I actually spoke with Katie Sanchez. I was just naming off a few, and I think I mentioned like Monsoon, but she's like, "Oh no, that was a team already." And I was like, "Oh, all right. Well, I guess we're sticking with Heat."
Oh, that's funny. So, yeah, so you came up with Monsoon kind of on your own before that.
Yeah, we were just like something weird around here. I mean, because those happen like in summer, nighttime. So we were just like. Just something like Arizona driven to give it a name.
That's awesome. That's funny too. Yeah, I don't know. Did she kind of get into like Monsoon, or did she have like a funny reaction when you said that?
No, she was almost like it was forbidden.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going for. So have you heard some of the older Arizona guys go like Monsoon like every now and then? If you like, you'll probably maybe you might hear it now, but like. Way back in the day, 2009, 2010, the only real competing teams for Arizona were the Arizona Monsoon, Arizona Rampage, and I want to say the Seven Deadly Sins. But like Rampage and Monsoon were like the biggest rivals, and we were each trying to be like, we're trying to outdo each other. So that's when fancy jerseys came in, that's when practices came in. And so Monsoon was kind of like it's like an inside joke now because that died out before Rampage did. So I guess they're both kind of fun to poke at.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny that you kind of thought of that on your own.
Yeah, I had no idea that was the one. I was just like, oh, that sounds like a cool name. And I was like, nope, it's already been used.
Yeah. Have you seen one of the jerseys or?
No, I haven't. I probably have like in some of the old pictures. I probably just didn't even notice.
You got to ask Katie to wear one to an open gym one of these days. I'm sure she'll happily oblige. That's funny. Well, cool, man. So let's, we kind of already got into the history of Heat. I mean, do you kind of want to talk about your team at all a little bit? Like you mentioned, Randy was obviously on that team. Who else do you have on there?
Yeah, we still have Isidro Perez. Joseph Hogue doesn't really play 8.5 with us, but he'll come out to like all the foam. And if they have like a no-sting tournament, he'll come to that. We've kept Eric Nolan on the team, and Dave Wallace is also on the team, but he's been hurt this year, so he's kind of out. And plus, he's got a lot of the dates fell on with his vacation and teaching. So,
gotcha.
So he's not going to be there this year. But we did pick up Jordan Wilson. So he's actually one of the first people we started playing with when we actually started with 8.5. He was the first one we played with. So I was like, if you want to get back into it and come out of retirement, come join us. So yeah, he was happy to play.
That's awesome. Yeah, both. So he came from the Renegades. They were a pretty competitive team for a long time with Chad. I don't know if you know that at all or heard of that team name pop up, but same thing. So Dave Wallace was from Rampage and Eric Nolan was from Monsoon. So if you guys talk on the group chat, I should definitely bring that up to him too. He'll probably laugh it off. But that's kind of cool because like you guys are kind of bringing in some of the old dudes. And I remember talking to Eric Nolan after round 1 or during round 1. We're just like, man, this is rough. It's competitive now, and we need to practice more and more. And it's kind of I want to say kudos to you for bringing in people like Jordan and Eric back into the game. I definitely miss seeing them. So it's good to know that they're coming back. And I was excited for a second until you said we're not going to see him at all this year. But Dave Wallace, so he's going to be playing rubber again at some point?
Yeah, he had like a hand injury to start. That's why he wasn't actually playing foam this past season.
Okay.
So he's just kind of recovering from that. And then, yeah, the dates just aren't going to work this year for like rounds 2 and 3. So, yeah, It was kind of tough for him to make it out this year. But he'll hopefully be back for 2019. Because he played awesome last year. We had him out for round 2. He came out to San Jose, and he was just killing it. I think Dave Benedetto like caught on to his suicide, and he was just like having a blast. And then they're both ended up being teachers, so they just like hit it off.
Nice. Battle of the Daves. That's pretty cool. Well, cool. So we'll, I guess, maybe, I don't know, we might come back to that, maybe not, but let's just definitely move on. I do want to ask this question. How long have you been playing dodgeball?
So it's probably been about 5 or 6 years now. We actually started with, it was me, Randy, and Joseph Hogue. We actually started at a trampoline dodgeball at this place called Jump Street in Chandler, Arizona. And it's trampoline cloth. So believe it or not, we started with cloth. And it was pretty fun. They hosted tournaments like every Wednesday. You just get like to play for free if you win and stuff like that. And we weren't that good at it at first. We couldn't really throw it just because it's like so big. And then we are kind of just like figured it out how to grip it enough to like they have that red target on the yellow ball. And if you grip it in the right spot, you can just hold it with one hand and not worry. So we started doing that. And actually JJ Morrow saw us there, and he was like, hey, you guys are pretty good. You guys should come play real dodgeball at
Nice.
Phoenix Dodgeball at Kiwanis in Tempe. And we're like, all right. And found out it was 8.5. And that's where we met Jordan. It was just Jordan, JJ, and like us 3. And I think we had one more guy. But we started playing that. And it was okay. Like we didn't really know how to throw it that well. And it was kind of tough to pick up because it was only like best of 7 when you play out here. So not many games to like get going. But someone noticed us there and told us about foam over at that time it was in Tempe still. So we went out to that, and that was kind of just my thing from then. I loved it. I could throw the ball right away. I knew how to throw a curveball with that thing. And kind of just stuck with it and stuck with Sonny's league for NDO, National Dodgeball Organization.
Gotcha. So I think I'm finally connecting the dots because I remember JJ bringing in these kids from trampoline dodgeball, and I think you said 5 years ago or so. So I probably still lived in Tucson back then, but I remember him and Jordan, and I just remember these 3, no offense, kids that were playing. You guys were just very young, right?
Yeah.
And I always wondered what happened to you. And then when I started playing NDO for the first time back in December of 2015, like I knew of you, like I knew that you were an experienced person. I don't know if that was just maybe the way you carried yourself, or I watched you play a couple of games before because we were on the same team. But like I guess it was trying to figure out where you came from, which is funny. But I get it now. So do you remember what team name you were for Phoenix Dodgeball on Sundays?
Oh gosh, I think it was Vitality.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but we were like, I remember like at that point it was pretty competitive. I think it was more competitive back then than it is now, or this last season that they had another 8.5. But I remember it was like Alan was out there, Chris Bell. They had Team Evil. So those guys were just killing it, and I was like, there's no way I can throw like them for this 8.5 ball. So yeah, someone told us about foam, and we just like jumped ship and went and played in NDO.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. So I remember just wondering, like, man, it sucks when new players show up because they just get rocked. And this is Sunday competitive, and it's like you said, it's they play the best 4 out of 7. So once that 4th game is won, the rest don't really count. So it's kind of like I don't know, if you really want to rack up 7 points on a team, go for it. But the format's different, and you have to kind of get your groove really fast, where unlike NDO, you play as many games as possible. So you can have somebody start off with 4-0, but they can still come back and take the game. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can get your full 40 minutes for foam, and then it was just a little tough for 8.5. I don't know if that's what turned us off from it at the time, because if we get 4-0, then we're done for dodgeball in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and sometimes that would happen, especially with new teams. You guys would be done so fast. So it's like, well, we've got 20 more minutes left of game time. I guess we'll just consider open gym or who knows. So
yeah, and we were like, I think I was probably like 17 or 18 at the time. So it's like, as soon as we lose or win or whatever, such a short time that by the time we're finished, we were only like 17 or 18, so we can't even go to the bar after, or at least enjoy the bar.
So there's like nothing for you guys afterwards.
Yeah, so it's we're just, let's go to NDO and check it out. But even at that time, someone, I think it was Nate Evans, was the first one to ask me to come play in the season instead of open gym. And at the time at the same time, I was like 17, 18. And he's like, yeah, it's over in Phoenix on about 30, 40 minutes away. I was like, I'm not going to drive 30, 40 minutes for dodgeball. And then now, like, I'm like traveling all the time and doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
At the time, I was like, I'm not going to travel for dodgeball. And then once I got really into it, I was like, I'm going.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely cover your travels a little bit later, but I'm just laughing because I drove up from Tucson to play in this Sunday league sometimes. So when people say, 30 minutes, that's too far, I'm like, well, either I'm just really dedicated or you're lazy, one or the other. But
yeah, exactly.
It's dodgeball.
Completely different mindset now.
Exactly. Well, cool. So let's kind of go back to your first experience with trampoline. Had you played any kind of dodgeball before then?
No, I mean, really it was only like maybe in high school. That was about it. And even then, it was probably like one of those things where you play it for a few weeks in PE and then you just move on to a different sport. So
yeah,
I always liked it. I've always liked playing. I just never really got into it at the time until we played trampoline, where it was like, all right, once a week we're going to go over to play trampoline dodgeball and get better at it. And I think it was kind of fun because when we were younger, like 16, 17, we played there was this other team that would just win every week, and they were like 20, 21 years old, and we always met them in the championship. And for a while we lost almost every time to them, and then finally we started beating them, and it just felt like so good to like finally take out all these guys that were like 5 years older than us that had been playing, and it kind of just stuck. And that's when JJ kind of recruited us.
Noticed you guys.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to him for introducing you to dodgeball. It's always, for me, it's always fun to kind of reverse engineer how somebody got started. Like, who was that person that brought you in, or what was that event that brought you to the dodgeball and version of you that we all know now? So kind of cool that you can trace it back to that time frame. Do you remember like what it was about dodgeball that you liked so much?
I don't know. I mean, I've always played, like, growing up, team sports, so it was just mainly baseball. And I like the team aspect, competitiveness, and I don't know, just the satisfaction of getting the win after a long match, I guess. So, yeah, it's been pretty fun that way.
Gotcha. And I know this might be taboo to bring up, but in addition to baseball, were there any other sports that you played growing up?
I mean, competitively, maybe like some football, not too much, but I played basketball in middle school. But both my parents played softball. That's how they met. So they both played softball together. My dad played in the minors for baseball. So I've always just been like around baseball my whole life. So it's kind of what I stuck with. I wasn't really too interested in all the other sports. Yeah, I kind of just stuck with baseball the whole time.
Gotcha. And did that help you with dodgeball in any way?
I think so. I mean, I used to pitch a lot.
There you go.
Around the high school area, and I never played in high school. I just always played like rec ball. That's how I met Randy and his brother Joseph. I think it was more fun that way. I got to meet a bunch of friends. I'm still friends with a bunch of those people I played with, and that's kind of why I I think pitching helped where I can throw the curveball, and then I developed a two seam once. It was actually once Catch'em started catching my curveball every time. I had to change it up on him.
Nice.
I had to think of something different because it was getting predictable, and my fastball wasn't good enough to just like rock him because he can catch a lot. Yeah,
he'll do that. He definitely is good at throwing and catching, which is infuriating. Okay, cool. So played some baseball, played dodgeball a little bit growing up, and then so I did want to go back to the NDO. So you tried out Phoenix Dodgeball, the Sunday Competitive League. I probably saw a much different version of dodgeball than what you might have seen at the NDO, where I don't know if you can recall, but like many of the teams are very slow and deliberate. There's a lot of exchange, like, okay, we'll throw, okay, then they'll throw. It wasn't as chaotic as what I perceived the NDO to be. Do you remember what it was like transitioning from that Sunday league to the NDO?
Yeah, my first time going to NDO was actually for a tournament. Santi asked me to sub for a team, and actually it was during the season. He asked me to sub for this team because they didn't really have anybody else that was pretty good, and he just saw me at open gyms a lot, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to play on this team, I'll give you like half off on the season if you play with them."
Nice.
And I was like, "All right." And I started to go out there instead of open gyms, and it was actually with Dave Wallace. So that's how I met Dave. He was on my team. We didn't really have any other strong arms on the team, so we were just kind of the corners. And yeah, it's a lot different because more people can throw it. I don't know. It's just there's more packed. Like when you're playing at Phoenix, I think it's 6-on-6. So, and at NDO at the time, they had like 12 teams, and I think it was like 10 to 12 people per team. So I guess it was more open gym-like, but definitely more fast-paced. So I don't know if that's what I liked about it more, and the fact that I could throw it a lot harder than 8.5. But yeah, it's kind of what drew me over there. And I played that season, and then Dave picked me up for the next few seasons because we just hit it off playing together. And yeah, I haven't stopped playing NDO since. Played every season.
Nice. Real quick, and I forgot to ask this earlier, do you still play trampoline dodgeball at all, or?
No, we haven't really gone back to like Jump Street or anything, but we did do the UDC scene. We went to Vegas in 2016. So we did that, and we've done a bunch of practices since, but it's kind of tough because last year we went to Torrance to go qualify because now they don't like the Sky Zone there's only one in Peoria for Arizona, and they don't host anymore. So now we have to travel to Torrance to go do it. But yeah, we do the UDC scene. Every once in a while we'll get a practice going and head over there. But yeah, it's kind of, you have to plan it out. I can't just go one night because at least from Chandler, it's like an hour drive.
Gotcha. So Peoria used to be a chapter for UDC, but it's no longer. So Arizona just is kind of, are we SOL for them, I guess, or at least for the time being?
Yeah, pretty much. The manager over there is kind of tough to deal with. Like he's not like really into the UDC tournament for Sky Zone. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad to go to Torrance, but it's just tough because the West Coast doesn't really get much love for UDC. There's only about, I think, 3 locations and 4 or 5 spots.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say I do remember hearing not nightmare stories about the Peoria location, but there definitely haven't been the most pleasant to deal with. And then as far as having to travel to Torrance, doesn't that put you guys in like Doom territory?
Yeah, I think Doom goes to Van Nuys, I want to say.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went to Torrance last year, and Riot actually knocked us out. We lost to them in the championship.
Oh, wow. So you guys went pretty far then for that.
Yeah, I mean, there was only like, I don't know, 6 teams at that location. And I think it was us, which we brought New Breed, and we played against Riot, and I think it was pretty close in the championship, but we lost to them, and it was kind of tough because I don't think I would have been able to go to Chicago because I was actually going to Cabo that same weekend. But I was definitely hoping to get my team to go out there if we could win. They would just had to find a sub for me.
Gotcha. So you're still vested in the team, wanted them to win, did your best, and just blow it for Cabo.
No, I didn't just blow it. I was like, no, I still want them to go. I mean, get the New Breed's name out there. But I mean, that doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, we changed it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, so I guess with your background, you gave rubber a shot. Wasn't really your thing, so to speak. Then you got really used to and involved with foam, and we'll definitely kind of talk more about that as we transition to Team USA and whatnot. But I did want to ask you what brought you into Elite Dodgeball, since that's pretty much 8.5 realm.
Yeah, we well, once New Breed kind of formed, it was right around UDC is where we met Isidro. One of the other players, Kane. He brought Isidro onto our team for UDC, and then we kind of just formed New Breed from there. And we all stuck together in NDO. And once Ketchum started coming out more to foam, he actually kept bugging us to come out to Elite. So he's like, if you want to be a real team, you got to come to Elite. And I was like, all right. Well, finally we started to give it a real shot, and we went last year. Was our first year doing it. We didn't have enough men to play an open, but we did pretty well in co-ed. I think we finished like tied for 5th in the first round for co-ed, and then round 2 was when we ended up getting the first seed because we didn't really have to play a tough team. But and then we lost in the playoffs. But yeah, it was definitely fun. I mean, I like Elite. I like the competitiveness of it. I'm not like too fond of 8.5, but I mean, if we have like that kind of competition, like I definitely like going out there to play against other teams.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny because I remember arguing with Ketchum a while ago. I mean, this is years ago, about how he like scares people away and isn't good for the growth of dodgeball. And then he like pointed to you and Isidro and I think Randy, and he's like, I got them to play. I was like, all right, that's fair, because you guys are actually sticking with it. And to his credit, he does try to recruit new people and get new bodies playing and does promote the Elite, so that's kind of cool. Yeah,
he might be a tough recruiter because once they see his arm, they might get a little turned off.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you want to catch this. You want me to throw this at you.
Come on, you can compete with people like us.
Yeah,
sure.
from the get-go, too, right away, without any kind of practice or easing into it. Well, cool. So, and then, obviously you guys transitioned into Heat, and then you played for round 1. And I remember playing against you guys, and like you guys definitely seemed tougher from when I remember back when I played against you for round 3 of last year. Have you guys kept the same roster more or less, or?
Yeah, I mean, we lost Dave for this year, but I mean, we added right. Jordan. So that'll be pretty good. I mean, we needed another arm is what we needed. And then we'll actually have, we picked up Marcus for round 2, McDowell.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So we saw him at round 1, and he plays co-ed with Alliance. Mm-hmm. And he was just standing around during the end of open, and we're like, are you not playing open? And he's like, no, I don't have a team. And I was like, well, we know Jordan's not going to be there for round 2, so come with us for round 2 and 3. And he said, okay.
Nice.
So yeah, we have about the same team. We didn't do, we did decent in round robin, and we had a poor showing in playoffs, but we're hoping to turn it around, especially with some of the 8.5 practices. They're starting to start up around Tempe, Chandler area.
Yeah, it's good to see that happening, and that's what me and Eric Nolan were talking about, and we're happy to actually see it take place, because I remember round 1 talking to him, we're like, yeah, we definitely need to go home and practice. And you know how it is, like once you leave Elite, you're like, oh, I'm going to practice every day, I'm gonna take this so seriously, and then life happens and you kind of forget about it until the next Elite. But it's really good to see a lot of the people that want to compete are making these open gyms happen, and it's always good to play against you guys and practice, because we definitely want all of the Arizona teams to have a strong showing. So it's exciting to see that come along.
Definitely, yeah.
So let's go ahead and move into more of the foam aspect, because this is probably going to take a lot of the interview. And I wanted to ask and just start with, what was it like playing for Team USA? Let's talk about like going from, I don't want to drive 30 minutes to whatever to play dodgeball to, yeah, I'm on Team USA now. What was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's a weird story, just because it's like, I didn't want to drive 30 minutes, but I'll take a 16-hour flight to Australia.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think, so Sani runs at the time he was running the Team USA selection, and told me to try out that year in 2016. And I went to it, and I did pretty good at the tryout, and made the team. And it was, it's kind of tough. I always tell people it's tough to get a team like that, because we can't really practice going out there. And it's kind of just like, you get like maybe 2 days to practice beforehand, unless people show up to other tournaments. But yeah, when we got out there, we had like about 1 day, maybe like 2 hours to practice together and get our team chemistry going. But once you get out to the tournament for World Championships, it's definitely pretty cool. You get to see a whole lot of different countries. I think the year I went, there was 9 countries and 10 teams. And you just kind of see like what everybody's take is on dodgeball and how they play and what their strategy is, what they favor. Like, I don't know, a lot of the teams play a little similar. I want to say the one outlier is probably Malaysia, because none of them are big. None of them are like, I don't know, they're all pretty athletic. They don't focus on catching. Their main thing is like dodge first. Huh. They all have good arms, but and then everybody else is kind of just like us. And you want to be like a good all-around player and throw hard, go for catches. So yeah, it was definitely a different scene out there.
Were there any, aside from Malaysia, like any other countries that I don't want to say you were shocked to watch, but they kind of surprised you, or you're like, oh wow, that's new, or that's different?
Yeah, it's got to be like that year, especially. I think it was Malaysia, just because they played a different style than everybody, and they were known for like just dominating people on the rush. Like, you're almost playing down 6-5 after the rush, after being 6-on-6, you're just down a player, and that was kind of their advantage. And they beat a lot of people to the line and took out somebody on the way there.
I'm assuming it's because they're just really quick. Really
yeah,
fast.
Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I went with them on the rush, and seemed like we got there at the same time, and then you turn around and one guy's down, or I'm down. So it was definitely something you had to adjust to. And then obviously Canada is really good. I mean,
so
they win a lot of the time, and they just have that team chemistry. I think they all live in like the same area of Canada, so they have time to practice, and they've been playing together a bunch of years. So you can definitely tell the team chemistry, and even when they're losing, they still find a way to win, as we found out from last year against us.
And what did you guys take last year, or was 2016? I guess that was the first one.
So yeah, 2016 we finished 4th, and last year in 2017 we finished 4th. Gotcha. But yeah, if you like, from being on both teams, like, I think we definitely improved last year. I mean, we gave Canada a run for their money. Like, I don't think anybody expected that score we had at halftime, and then again, nobody expected us to blow it either. So
yeah, I try not to open up any wounds there. But I'm curious. So was 2016 was in Australia, and last year that was in Canada?
Canada, yeah. And it was right in Toronto, and it was at the Markham Pan Am Center. So I don't know if that's like a little suburb off of Toronto. But yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of those players, I think I was looking at the list they just released today for the Canada team, and I think like 3 or 4 guys are from Toronto, and then one of the other guys from Markham.
So they got that proximity towards each other. They're probably used to playing together all the time. They have like a little bit of an advantage, you'd say, maybe. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just like these last 2 years for Team USA. It's like there's about 3 people max in one state. So it's like 3 in Arizona, 2 in LA, 3 in Minnesota, 1 in Chicago. So it's like, unless we all go to the same tournament and get like a practice going, it's kind of tough to get that chemistry.
I was gonna say you probably get that like during round robin, maybe, right? If that's being optimistic on when you guys actually finally sync and click.
Exactly.
What do you recall maybe what you guys did differently from 2016 versus last year that you said you kind of felt like you had a better showing?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to play in some extra tournaments together before then, and I think we kind of just like, hey, you were on there last year, let's get a practice going, or like let's try to team up for this tournament and just kind of get everybody's play style. And I think we just had a stronger team overall. I mean, adding Isidro, O'Brien, I mean, we had like, and then Nico on the rush, like it just looked different. I mean, I don't know, I don't want to say they were like, it was better than the ones that weren't there last year, but it's, I think they definitely added some value to the middle, especially. And I think Foley just broke out and like dominated the corner for us. I mean, he got MVP last year, so he definitely stuck out and made a big improvement from 2016 to 17.
It's like a different dynamic, basically, not so much talent-wise, just different assets that you guys might have had versus 2016.
Yeah, I think we had a lot more just arms in 2016, which if you're not going to catch or something in the middle in 2016 we had more arms, so it's like 2017 if you're in the middle you kind of have to be able to catch. So yeah, I think that was kind of like a little bit of a flaw that we had. We had too many corners, that's what it was. Too many corners for 2016, and you got 4 corners but only 2 can play it.
Gotcha. So when you were at some point when you're on your way to Australia, did you ever just stop for a moment and think, what am I doing? Like, I'm actually playing, I'm on a plane right now going to Australia to play dodgeball. Like, who would have thought this would have happened? Did you ever have any moments like that?
You know, I think I was more worried because that day I left for Australia, I flew with Sonny and Rachel from the women's team, and we all flew up there together, so that was nice. But just to know somebody on the plane for that long of a flight, and I actually got sick the morning of, and out of all the days, I got sick, so I was like sleeping the whole time. But yeah, as soon as you land there and you see everybody, you know you're in another country. It's like it was my first time out of the country besides like Mexico. Right. So it was like overseas, and it's just like once you hit the ground over there, it's like I'm here for dodgeball. And yeah, just talking to anybody on the flight on the way there, it was like, oh, what are you doing? Where are you going? And I'm like, well, I'm actually going for dodgeball. And they're like, and then it just turns into a whole like 20-minute story about dodgeball.
Did you ever get like, oh, like the movie or?
Oh man, I think that happens even to this day. Anybody I talk to about it, yeah, and it's like I kind of just brush it off.
Even in Australia, though, same kind of reactions.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Australians are like a lot nicer, and they're kind of just their take on stuff was they're just like all for any other sports. Like they have netball and rugby, so I think they're kind of okay with kind of like these off the wall sports that aren't just like the mainstream thing, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, are you I mean, are you trying to get on Team USA for this go round, or because I understand the formats can be a little bit different, they're definitely changing up how they select players. Are you still like thinking you want to go international and still want to rep Team USA, or what are your thoughts on the latest with USA Dodgeball?
Definitely, I think I'm definitely trying out. I think probably this year out of more than any of the other years, I want to definitely play, because now that there's a bigger pool, I kind of want to just feel like I deserve it, I think, and not just like it was because of how many people tried out the last 2 years. I don't want it to be like, oh, you just got on just because there wasn't that many people trying out. I kind of just want to make it so to prove to anybody that I was good enough to play. So yeah, I'm definitely working on some stuff and watching videos and especially with all these new tournaments, are great for the sport, especially the international stage, the ones that Jake's running to help grow it. And it's definitely nice seeing LA play foam, because just gets a new player pool out there. And maybe it's kind of funny seeing some people that have never thrown it and they're great 8.5 players, and then they pick up this foam ball and throw it about 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, but that's hilarious to watch.
It is. It's great.
Yeah, because I know that there's like some controversy over Team USA post 2015, but I'm kind of I don't want to say I steer clear of that. I just know that it's on a better track than it was now with all the recent developments. So that's kind of cool. Like you want to make sure that you belong there and you're trying to prove yourself. And I mean that's as much of a good reason as anybody else for trying to be on Team USA. I mean you're going to be the best of the best. You're representing the country. You want to go win, dominate everything. You want all of us backing you up. So totally understand that.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, let's kind of talk about real quick. I know this is a gimme. I was going to ask, what is your favorite style of ball? Foam, duh. But I guess aside from foam, you got no sting, you got rubber, and cloth. I sometimes forget that exists just because I hate that ball. But other than foam, what is your favorite style of ball?
I think I'm going to have to go with no sting. I like kind of the hybrid version of it with like between foam and 8.5. But I think it's just a good hybrid. Like I love the Sin City Classic to go out there and play in that tournament. And I think probably the only flaw or downfall of that ball is just the consistency between all of them.
Right.
So it's like one of them's going to be super squishy while the other one's like a brick. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's just because like I can throw it pretty decent now and can still throw a curve on it, I guess, and still catchable. I mean, they're all pretty catchable, but yeah, just like how I can place it and get some speed on it. And
nice.
I think it allows more people to play and doesn't like stray away like any of the women from playing no sting.
So what's your favorite? It's kind of a weird question. What's your preferred no sting ball? Like if you get a squishy one, or you're like, oh, this is garbage, or you're like, yes, I want this one. Like which one do you prefer or lean towards?
I definitely like to be able to like squeeze it, but not like have it be like where it's almost like you're pinching it every time because it's so squishy. But yeah, just where it's like enough to where it's hard enough to aim it without it curving down to the ground every time. But yeah, not like a rock though. So yeah, as long as it's not pretty much like right in between the squishiness and the rock, enough to just place it where I want it.
Gotcha. And going back to Sin City, unless I'm mistaken, you've had a pretty good run there, haven't you? Like, aren't you racking up the first places, or am I?
Yeah, we usually have a pretty decent team. I mean, that's like the only tournament I play with Ketchum for. So it's definitely nice to have that other corner there. But I like it because a lot of teams go for him right away, and then they'll just ignore me, and then I get him out when they try to go across them. And I like to be like that protection, especially for that kind of player.
Yeah, especially when all the focus is on him. Like, oh, I don't want to get lit up by Ketchum. Oh yeah, there's like 5 other people that can throw at me. Whoops.
Yeah, exactly. And it was nice because I think I played with him. This is the 3rd year, and I think we got the first seed almost every year. I think this is the 3rd year. We've got the first seed almost every year, but we finally won it this time around.
That's okay. Yeah, because I remember you guys won this one, but I was trying to remember if you guys won last year, and then I remember some controversy like over a call or whatever, like a questionable play or what have you. It always happens, but gotcha. So you've seeded first, but this was the first one you guys actually won for Sin City. Yeah,
we finally pulled it out and won it all. I think we were playing Pine's team in the championship.
Yeah, I'm not going to say their name, but I know who you're talking about. That was a good game. I remember watching all that unfold. Well, cool. So I do want to transition into the crowdsourced questions. There's quite a few of them, but I did want to ask real quick, what is your style of play? Do you consider yourself more of a defensive player, offensive? Do you go for catches more? What, how would you describe your style?
I don't know, especially like it's almost like I'd rather not have like too much of a strong suit in something, especially like going for like Team USA or anything. I feel like you should be able to do it all. So you should be able to block pretty well. You should be able to catch. You should be able to throw. So and play smart. So I feel like I do all of them pretty decent. So I don't want to like just be, oh, he only catches or he's only a thrower. I've tried to work on my game to like excel in all of them. And like I think it was playing an NDO about like 3 years ago. I didn't go for a catch at all. Like in that league, if you're playing corner, you're pretty much just throwing the whole time. And then when I went to I started going to open gyms more over there, and I just worked on catching. Like I'd get rid of my ball as soon as I got it and force people to throw at me. And it definitely helped a lot because then I was ready for Worlds in Australia and got a whole bunch of catches.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can vouch for that. Like you don't, when we're playing against each other or when I see you like on the opposite court, I'm like, yeah, you can either catch me out or throw me out. So it's not like you're partial to any one particular thing. You kind of just like work with what you have. So yeah, you do strike me as somebody that's fairly balanced. I do see you try to go for some wild catches every now and then where you're like sacrificing your body and diving 3 feet in the air. But I mean, it's for like during open gyms. So it's more for like fun, I would think, than anything. And I do want to thank both Markel Stokes and Sergio for these questions, but because this is one of these I'm going to ask now as a staple. But do you have any specific songs that like amp you up for a dodgeball game?
I pretty much always, when I do like bring my headphones, beats, whatever, I usually try to listen to Eminem. Specifically, I think my go-to song is probably Lose Yourself.
I was going to ask if that was the one. Nice.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, it just gets you amped up, I guess.
Gotcha. And do you have like any, like a pregame playlist, or is it just that song whenever you need to get in the zone?
It's usually just that song. I mean, sometimes I'll just like YouTube like a playlist of like pump up songs and just get the blood flowing, I guess.
Nice. Any, this might be a weird question, but any like random songs you're like, oh, that's weird. I wouldn't think of you getting amped up to that song. And I ask this because Alan listens to Bare Naked Ladies, and I don't understand how anybody can transfer 1 week to dodgeball. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, I guess I guess I like country, but I wouldn't use it to like be a pump up playlist. I know when I hear about my my truck breaking down, losing a girlfriend.
Yeah, if you want to get depressed before you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, country's really good for that. I do enjoy my country when I feel like I want to beat myself up emotionally. Just why not? Well, cool. So let's go ahead now and kind of transition into the crowdsourced questions. There's quite a few of them. So if I don't do it after, huge thank you to everybody that submitted them. So speaking of Alan, we'll go ahead and start with his and kind of cover this a little bit, but why didn't you start Heat or New Breed sooner? Why didn't you bring them into Elite sooner?
I think it was just the 8.5 aspect. Like our team is like foam first kind of team. So traveling for 8.5 just wasn't like in our agenda. But then we figured if we wanted to get better and see the other competition, we had to go and join. And as I said before, it was like Catch 'em was definitely pushing us to go out there.
Nice. And actually, so Heat is your foam team. Do you guys have a lot of opportunities to play in other tournaments as a team?
Well, I mean, we brought like half of our team to, or most of it, I guess, to that Tribune tournament. I mean, that's why we called ourselves Boosh Breed. at the
Oh, that's right. I
time.
remember that name.
It was like me, Isidro, and Randy teamed up with Stone, Foley, and Derek for that one. So yeah, because I don't think enough people were gonna come out to it from our team. But I mean, we had like I think Griffin and Joseph joined. They teamed up because they found out about it and they wanted to play, so they made their own team. But yeah, I mean, it was just an opportunity, especially for me, Isidro, and Randy were playing on the international stage last year to play with Stone and Foley. We don't really get that opportunity too often.
Gotcha. So if would it be fair to say though that for other foam events that happen, Heat is your go-to team?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. If we can get like another USA Dodgeball event for foam or something, we'll definitely bring Heat.
Nice.
No pun intended.
Yeah, I was caught that one. It's funny because for some reason, and it's probably because I'm from Arizona too, but like when I saw Heat, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's from like the 1996 movie with Val Kilmer and all them. But I'm obviously reading way into it. It's because Arizona's hot and that's it. So my mind's the wonder sometimes. But speaking of my mind, Steve Damon asks, how do you get better at foam when your whole life has been rubber and you know nothing else? As you know, I struggle profusely with foam. And yeah, I think that's a fair question though, because, you got a lot of people that are trying to cross class, so to speak, and transition into other games. And I agree. No sting is like a great in between foam and rubber, but man, foam is just like learning a whole nother language for me. What advice would you have to people like myself that want to, get better at foam and not be so, stubborn with rubber?
I don't know. I think it's just going to be, I don't know, going out to it all the time, getting some practices in. I mean, even I think most places have a foam division near, I guess, like LA, Minnesota, Dallas. Like, there's always some foam around. And I don't know. I think the big thing is getting your throw down, especially like how different it is from throwing an 8.5 ball. Because you can definitely overthrow it and release too early or something like that. And it definitely takes some getting used to transitioning from 8.5 to foam, especially on the catching part. Because I went from catching foam to catching 8.5. So it's like, I don't know, I think it was that's an easier transition than going the other way.
Yeah, and I think that's where I get the most frustrated because the body and my instincts know what to do and they know how to bait people. And it works, except for I don't do my part, and that's actually catch the dang thing. And it's because I'm so used to catching rubber a certain way that I just have to forget. It's like I have to learn how to catch foam from scratch. And I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Santi was saying you got to start with your hands first versus, letting the rubber kind of impact your body and you can pin it, so to speak. Would you agree with that advice? Or how do you catch a foam ball? Like, can you break that down just real quick on a basic level?
Yeah, I think, especially for me, I don't try to reach for it much, even though it looks like, I don't know, just like a piece of candy in the air when you're just trying to go for it. I always mostly stick with catching it on my body, especially because the way it bounces off of you, it might cushion. So it's like, I don't know, when it comes to you, you can even let it have it bounce off you and still have enough time to like get your hands to trap it.
You're saying this for foam?
Yeah, for foam.
Oh, wow.
Because like I hardly ever catch like all hands. Like I'm not an Isidro kind of catcher where I can just do all hands, but I almost always use my body to catch all of it and move my body towards it, I guess, if it's near.
Yeah,
so, I can't pick stuff out of the air like Isidro.
Yeah, I think there's a few people that actually can, at least as frequently as he does. He's a monster, and he does it with rubber too, which is insane to watch.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. I mean, we've even gone to like one of those Rise practices in San Diego, and he had like one ridiculous catch on Chris Bell where he threw his hands in the air, turned around, and he like caught it on his head, all hands. Jeez. It was like and everybody just like had to like take like a 5-minute break to let that sink in.
Just to realize what they saw and acknowledge the greatness.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's incredible. I would love to see like a first person POV of like what goes on in his mind when this happens. Like, is it just instinctual? Is it a little bit of reflexive, and he sees it coming in slow motion? You know, it just makes me wonder like what goes on in his mind when he's making these insane catches. And the funny part is like he'll drop the simplest ones too, and just like, how in the world did you pluck Ketchum's ball out of the air, but you dropped my ball that slipped out of my hands? Like, I don't understand how that works sometimes.
It's got to be like 70 miles an hour plus for him to catch it easily.
To trigger his catch mode.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, this is just a chance for me to pick your brain so I can get better at foam. There really is no podcast episode. This is all for my own personal gain. So I appreciate that insight. Let's move on to Sergio Leone's question. And what players in Elite influence your game?
Oh, man. There's probably a bunch. I still, as like a student of the game, I try to pick some of the top players and see what works for them and pick something from their game that they're really strong at and try to make it my own, I guess. So there's like Crater and Tim, who are like, seems like they can stand in the corner all day, just blocking and making like smart throws, smart decisions. And I try to watch that a lot because they're probably two of the best at playing corner, and especially in 8.5. And I studied stuff from like catching, like the way he sets his feet when he just gets like these crazy catches in foam and in 8.5. Like they'll just stick there, and if you see like his spacing on his feet, like some of them just stick there, and I didn't even like think to do that because I like spread my feet out when I play. And so just little things like that, like I'll pick up on certain players.
Is this stuff you're watching for on video, or is it like a mixture of video and live actual events?
A little bit of both. I mean, I look at all our games and try to see like big catches, big plays, and why someone threw this ball, and how did this work out, and how did that play develop. And so I watch that on video, and then I try to secretly ref some of the better teams so I can watch how they're playing, because I can't really always watch them when we're playing. So
yeah, reffing is a great way to take notes and scout, but also get the mind ready for fast-paced objects. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like reffing. I don't mind it because I get to do all three of those things at the same time. So kind of glad you said that. Let's see. And this is kind of like a good segue into this question, and hopefully I get his name right. But Charlie Struzik asked, is it annoying being compared to Cody and Dan Foley?
Oh man, that was like
Cody Dan
it was
Foley.
like an ongoing joke when we went to Australia. It was we sat in the Airbnb in Australia in Melbourne, and we were watching the footage, and the commentators, they kept mixing us up on the stream. So, but it actually worked out in my favor. So that's why it was funny, because Cody would have a catch, and they're like, "Oh, Clark with the catch," and Cody's over there like, "No, that was me." And so that was pretty funny. So I guess it worked in my favor, but not so much for him. But no, Cody's like one of my brothers. We played together at one of that LA tournaments with Glenn for the other like LA Classic. So yeah, Foley's a great guy. It's an honor being compared to him.
Nice. And it's Cody Dan Foley. That's his full name?
Yeah, I guess. I've never called him Dan, but
I think it's because
especially because like we had two Codys on the team, so I hated saying Cody. So I just go ahead and Stidham and Foley.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know it's Cody Foley. It's just when I copy pasted it took his full name from Facebook, so that's my fault. I know who Cody Foley is. So I'll just clear that up. So, Markel Stokes asked, "What is your most clutch play during dodgeball, and what was your most memorable play internationally?" He said, in parentheses, "You made a lot of good plays, so should have no shortage to draw from on those."
Oh man, I don't know if there are too many like plays. I kind of just liked, especially that first year, going out to Australia, we had probably if anybody wants to watch like a really good foam match, it was when we played Malaysia. It was day one. I think the Australian Dodgeball Federation has it uploaded on YouTube towards the end of the live stream. We were playing Malaysia, and again, they're like a great team. But right at the end, we went to like overtime. It was the 4-minute overtime. So it was probably I think probably the only time in the tournament that I went to overtime in round robin. And we played them day one, and we had like the numbers on them. We were up like 6-4 on them, and then if you watch it, they took out like 3 people at once. Like it ricocheted off 3 people, and then all of a sudden we're down like 4-3, and then I think it was down 4-2 after that. Like somebody else got out, and it was just me and Stone like left against 4 Malaysians, and slowly but surely we picked one off, and yeah, right at the end, I think they blocked Stone's ball, and I hit the guy right on the chest to win it. And that was just like, it was just like so satisfying to, like, we finally beat like a big country, like with everything going on with USA at the time. It was like, that put us at 3-0, and it just kind of was like a satisfying feeling to get the W against a big team like that. And the cool part was not many teams get to watch, like not many of the men's teams, or if you're the same gender teams, get to watch each other play, because everybody plays at the same time. So because it was overtime, all the other games finished, and all eyes were on us because we were the last game of the day.
Oh, nice.
And everybody came to watch us play, and they saw this happen. So that's probably one of my favorites. Yeah, and then I guess like that's probably a memorable moment play. And then I think another one, I don't know if it was as satisfying because it didn't really mean much, but round like day 3 of round robin, we played Australia, and there was one part where it was 4-on-1 versus me, and I kind of like slowly but surely picked each Aussie off one by one, and got us a solid W for that game. I think I got kind of lucky because I think Ryan McLaughlin was one of the guys that plays, and he's so tough to get out. And I think he stepped out of bounds like on one of his drawbacks. So he's a great player, and I got lucky he stepped out of bounds. So really, I took out like 3 guys, but it was kind of cool. So it's another video to watch if you want to see.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you took out 3 guys, maybe 4, but you faced 4. So I mean, there's that too.
It was crazy. I was like, I mean, it was a little. I don't want to say it was my favorite just because the match didn't really mean much. We still like Australia still got the 1 seed. We still got the 3 seed, even if we lost that match. So wasn't as big as the other games, but I definitely liked it.
Good personal moment.
Yeah, and then obviously the other one, like the other memorable moment was I got like the only like men's award for that tournament, and it was like the best and fairest award. So I mean, being recognized at that level was pretty cool. I don't think they called it MVP, but I mean, it was still a cool award to get.
Definitely. Yeah, no, this is pretty cool to take any award away from an international stage. So I mean, that's basically saying best in the world at that specific event or that specific action. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool. Well, Isaac Perez asked if you've recovered from the catch you had on last Saturday's tournament.
Yeah, I did recover from it.
Was that like a tournament match catch?
Yeah, it was like we were playing his team, and I ran up to just blast him because he was backpedaling, and I think it like stuck in his lap, and I think his eyes are still closed to this day.
Oh man, Isaac is I've known that guy for 10 years now, 11 years.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm not. He's like a brother of mine. He's awesome. Except when I throw at him and he catches me, then it pisses me off because he'll do that. But
no, he's great. We talk about it all the time. He messaged me actually right before this interview about it, and he's always a good guy.
Glad I brought it up then. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Joe DeFuria asks, how is that adorable puppy of yours? And I'm assuming this is Storm, right?
Yeah. Oh man, like he's. I don't know what stage he's in, terrible twos or what, but
just adorable. I mean, that's the only stage I see with him.
I picked him up, like, he was like 8 pounds when I picked him up. I went and surprised Samantha. She didn't know I was getting him. I told, like, we were following this page on Facebook, and he was up for sale, and I told her I was going to message the people to pick it up, and they said, yeah, and we agreed on a price. And I messaged her right after and said, oh yeah, they sold it the day before. And so she was kind of bummed. But my whole plan was to go right after work down to like Casa Grande to go pick it up. And I brought it home, and I have a video of it somewhere on her reaction. So it's definitely a really cute dog. He was 8 pounds at the time, and it's been like 2 weeks, and he's like already at 16 pounds. So I don't know if he's overeating or what, but I mean, we don't feed him that much, but he's definitely getting bigger. He's definitely not as small as when I picked him up.
It's gonna be,
but he's not going to be a full husky. He's Pomsky, so he's actually 75% husky and 25% Pomeranian.
Huh. 100% adorable though, and
yeah, definitely. He's got his like eyebrow mean look all the time. So I think that's what does it for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, Serge Ferrari from Rise of Brutality, who lives in San Diego, who wanted me to make it very clear that it was his question. Again, Serge Ferrari, San Diego, Rise of Brutality. He asked whose idea it was. Obviously, it was your idea. It was like a surprise for Samantha.
Yeah, the idea belonged to me.
Nice.
You can quote that, so that way I don't have to do any push-ups the way he wanted me to from that question.
Oh, what kind of push-ups?
We have this ongoing game where you have to say a certain word, and the way I worded it keeps me in the clear.
Interesting.
So if anybody wants to message him, just blow up his messenger and ask him about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hit him up and ask what that was about and see how I can make you say that word now. Should have known about that beforehand. Oh, well. Alan Thomas had another question, and I don't know if this is him like trying to scout in advance, because that dude is just super analytical and very aware of what's going on from his perspective. But is there a player in your mind that you think needs to travel that hasn't in Arizona? And this could be foam, rubber, or no sting.
I know he's retired, but I want to see Mason come out.
Mason Shank?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I've always heard stories about him, but I've never seen him actually like play in person.
Yeah, have you ever seen him? Like,
I saw like the Rampage videos, and it's just like, yeah, I heard he's like the catch him before catch him.
He was definitely the catch him before catch him. I've known him for a very long time, so he was with me on Eagle for years, and what a weapon to have when somebody is terrified of this guy, and they're watching him and only him. It was such an advantage, and he was such a monster. And I would pay money to watch like Mason in his prime against Ketchum and just see what would happen. That would be an awesome match. And it's funny because he's been coming up a lot in these episodes, especially from the older people that I talk to. And I really need to let him know, like, hopefully his ears are burning. Like, dude, people are calling you out. Like, you need to cast off the cobwebs, get into shape. You're not that old, and get back into it and challenge Andrew for dominance. Get your butt wrecked. Go back, work out some more, and come back. And let's see you back on the dodgeball court, because he was awesome. He's an all-around great guy. Intense on the court, not as bad off the court. But I mean, picture like a 4-year-old trapped in a linebacker's body, and that's Mason Shank. So that sums him up.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. And if he ever decides to come out and you talk to him, you tell him there's like a permanently open spot on Heat for him.
I'll text him that right now. Be like, dude, there's a spot waiting for you already. Come out here. Stop being lame.
You're not before Titan does, because that'd be a huge dangerous team.
Yeah, I'll walk off the court if that happens. I'm like, no, I'm done. You can, good luck, guys. Whatever team I'm on, if I'm against Titan with Mason, no, I'll just watch that from the sidelines. Let's see. Do you know how to say Hooch's actual last name, Orlando?
I don't know. Huicochea?
Yeah, so Hooch, Orlando, he asked baseball or dodgeball, and you can only pick one.
Oh man, I think my baseball days are over. If you was still referring to softball, because that's what I
Oh,
still play
that's right.
now.
Yeah, softball, I think, is what that question eventually transitioned to.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd always probably still play dodgeball. I mean, all my friends play dodgeball. I mean, softball is just kind of like a thing to when I'm not playing dodgeball, go play softball, and it's just fun because it's just like a different group of people to be around and go to the bar after a game for. But yeah, it's usually my off season sport. So dodgeball is probably still first now.
Good to know. Good to hear. Griffin Baker asks, why do you skip leg day? I'm just going to assume he knows. So what's up with that?
Oh man, Griffin's kind of my workout buddy now. So
nice.
we go and hit the gym. So that's his way of saying hit the gym.
Fair enough. Leg day is important. I love this question, and this is going to be a staple now. Huge shout out to Ketchum for thinking of this one. But what do you want to achieve in dodgeball, and what keeps pushing you to play to get better?
And it's honestly probably I want to like medal and hopefully get gold on USA if I make it again. And it's kind of just like it's been a little uneasy to get fourth the last 2 years. So hopefully, if I can make it this year, I'm assuming the team's going to be a force to be reckoned with, no matter what and who gets picked. But I'd want to get the medal around my neck to say we've done it, and I can play easy after that. But yeah, that kind of just pushes me to play and just studying the game, and especially with all the new talent, especially with Elite being incorporated in US Dodgeball, the player pool is a lot better. So it's I just kind of want to stay above the curve, especially if I'm ahead of the curve in foam. I want to just, anybody that comes up, I want to just learn from them, learn how they play, and keep getting better at it.
Nice. And how old are you?
23.
Oh man, you got plenty of time to figure that out. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's a great question. That's like I said, that's going to be
Very
a staple one I ask from now on. So I'm all about like drive, and earlier I was saying like I love like reconstructing how somebody came into dodgeball, but one of my biggest things is to find out what keeps people playing, and then what makes them want to get better. So
it's almost like a job interview question. What do you want to do here, and where do you want to be?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your plan? What do you bring to this organization?
How are your finances?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can get into those later if you want to, but Randy, he asks, who is the better hoagie? Hogue.
Oh, yeah, it's like
so clearly it's Joseph. If he has to ask, it's Joseph, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's shaking in his boots, worrying who's better. But no, I mean, if he wants to know, like I think he's got a really strong game, especially in no-sting 8.5. He's got all the tools to be the better Hogue. But Joseph, I mean, if you ask anybody in Arizona for NDO and anything, he just kind of, for foam especially, he doesn't really play too much on the no-sting 8.5 side. So I give those to Randy, but I think Joseph can command the court better in foam. So I talked to both of them all day, so they know all of it.
They know where you stand.
Yeah, and I mean, they're both great. I mean, they're both on heat, and I'd hope for them to be some of the best.
Yeah, I mean, anytime a Hogue is against me, I'm just like, dang it. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be Randy or Joseph. It's just like, well, crap. So they're both phenomenal players in foam.
Yeah, I've been with them since the beginning.
That's awesome. So a couple questions from Joseph Colella, and I think I'll skip the most important one for later. But which pro athlete outside of dodgeball best describes you and your intensity on the dodgeball court?
Oh man, that was a tough question. I actually thought about that one. Like, I'm like, oh man, if Steve asked me, what am I going to say?
I'm glad I asked it then.
But I actually, like, because I watch baseball a lot, I actually idolized Derek Jeter. and just the way he carried himself. But I guess describing the way I play, I don't really play again because he's just like a down to earth player and just keeps us calm throughout the sport. So I actually went with Steph Curry. I'm a Warriors fan. I'm from San Francisco. So the way he plays pretty calm, he's a quiet guy on the court, but he'll still celebrate any big play he makes or something like that. So that's kind of what I did, because any big win or big play I make, I definitely do celebrate. And I don't know if Jeter does that.
Nice. I actually know who Derek Jeter is, so I was fearing that question. I don't follow the sports as much unless it's football, roughly. But yeah, I checked out of baseball years ago, very long time ago. So this next question: if you had to make an All-Star Arizona Elite team, both 8.5 and foam, who would make both teams, and who would only make one or the other, and why? Good Lord.
Got it. Well, luckily I was prepared.
Okay, good. I was going to ask if you prepared for that one.
I don't know if it was fair, but I put 7 players on the foam team and about 9 on the 8.5 team for men's. So people that made both for me, I would say Ketchum. I put Brett Baxter on it. Isidro, Randy, and Allen. So I think they have strong suits in both. They played both. I think Brett actually did really good at the tryout in 2016. And but for foam, I didn't put myself on the 8.5 team. I just kind of I smelled the roses. I know my 8.5 game is not where as many of the other Arizonans are, but I put me and Joseph on the foam only, and then some of the 8.5 guys that maybe I just didn't see as much in foam. It's probably like Justin Acton, Chris Bell, Izzy, and then I put yourself, Steve.
Oh, you didn't have to do that.
No, I mean, I've seen you. I've seen you play in Titan and Gridlock, and some of the games just like you can just take out the whole team, whether it's catching, throwing. I've noticed.
Well, crap, but yeah, I mean, on a good day, hopefully you see me on better days than most of my crappy ones. But that's cool. I'll have to live up to that expectation now. Does that go for foam as well, or did you have like a different lineup for foam?
No, yeah, I put just for foam it was Ketchum, Brett, Cedro, Randy, Allen, and then I put myself and Joseph Hogue.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think we're just like foam first for most of us. And then I actually did do a women's one, and to keep it simple, I put them for the same team on both, and I put a solid 8, I think. I put Samantha Greco.
She's all
Rachel.
Right.
Just someone I know. Rachel Radia, Katie Sanchez, Kirsten Bell, Stephanie Baxter, Grace, Carla, and then some people that might not know about it because she doesn't really travel that much, but she kills it in our foam league is Priscilla. I don't know her last name, but she's definitely stepped up her foam game, and I feel like she'd probably do pretty well at 8.5.
What color team did she play for?
I think it was purple with Allen.
I think I know who you're talking about. She's really good. It's a shame she doesn't travel.
Yeah, I think she was in talks about like we were trying to pick her up for Heat, but she hasn't really got out of Arizona yet. I think she just had a kid, so that was kind of took priority, I guess, for a little while.
I guess
Hopefully she does travel.
Definitely. Speaking of Samantha, do you guys have like a rivalry when you play together? Like, do you guys try to see who's going to outcatch the other, or?
Oh man, yeah, I think. Well, it's funny because like in the house, we've had times where it's just there's like dodgeballs laying around, and then we'll just break out in a duel.
Nice.
And then we have like a game where we'll just throw at each other's feet and kind of like showboat if you get someone out and don't get caught, but pretty dangerous around like the lamps or anything, but it's pretty fun. But yeah, when we play against each other, Not that it happens too much because we usually play on the same team, but in practices or anything, we definitely try to see who can catch the other one.
That's awesome. Let me see. I'll get to the important question later in case you're wondering. But Randy asked, who stood out to you at USA Dodgeball foam tournaments that has a chance of making USA?
Oh,
kind of switching gears a little bit with that one.
Yeah, it was. So at the LA Classic, I was surprised to see he was on my team. Was Glenn actually did really well with foam. I thought because we had like 4 guys and you can only have 3 in the court. I thought he was going to sit out most of it because we had me, Eric Jones, and Foley and Glenn. And I was like, I don't know if Glenn can play 8.5, and he actually did really well at the LA Classic. We won that tournament. But at this last one, I was surprised Brody actually, he did really well at he got his throw going pretty well. And if anybody saw that viral video,
oh my God,
that was, I know Cashin doesn't like to hear it, but Brody gets some crazy catches.
Yeah, that video, man, I have laughed too hard at that video. It is, I don't know if it's just the X-Files music or just the fact that happens to catch him a lot, and it just so happened to be Brody, and it just like the ball glued itself to his sternum. Like just everything about that video is great.
Especially because it was like it's at that same location where Ketchum like doesn't want to play anymore because that's where Eric Jones got him last year.
So it's like cursed for him. That's hilarious. So
yeah, I think those are the 2 standouts for me.
Gotcha. Well, it seems like you've been doing your homework, so I'm not as hesitant to ask this one now, but back to Joseph's question. If you were a dinosaur, which part would you play in the new Jurassic Park coming out on June 22nd? And
I actually watched the trailer, and I was like, I liked it before, and I'm still going to go with the Velociraptor.
Nice.
It's like the main character with Blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just so happened to catch that comment just as I was about to watch Black Panther. I'm a little behind the curve here. But I saw that trailer, and that just bothered me the entire night and most of the day. I was like, all right, well, which dinosaur would you be? And I have no idea if this is just Joe being silly, but I did once compare Alan to a raptor, the way he played, especially when, I don't want to say his younger days because he's still a child to me, but when he was younger, he was just very all over the place, very just agile, and he was how I would picture a raptor to play dodgeball. Again, going back to that comment I made about my mind is in weird places sometimes, and I feel like you're kind of the same. So the dinosaur I had in mind, I don't know if it's in Jurassic World, but it's Deinonychus. So if people want to actually Google that, they're more than welcome to. But it's like another version of the raptor species, I think. I'm sure some nerd's going to call me out on that, but that's fine. Raptors seem to be like how I would peg you because, again, you're very calculating, but you're agile, and it's just fun to watch you play. So it's I think I finally figured that out. Thanks, Joseph, for the hard-hitting question that just plagued my mind all day long. But
he definitely made me do some research for his question.
That's funny. Oh, well, I think I got most of the questions. And this one's more of a personal appearance, but Sergio Leone did ask if you had a favorite jersey that you saw in West Round 1. I think that's a pretty good question to ask.
Yeah, I think I was those saucy jerseys are pretty nice. We actually kind of mocked up some jerseys for Heat, and they were a little similar to that, so I'm glad we didn't go with it because they rolled it out like the very next tournament. So I like the saucy jerseys, and then Rainbows always has like some pretty cool color schemes going on, and it seems like they have like 10 jerseys.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see a transition from like the regular black and potentially red gray theme. I know Alan kind of broke that down for me when he discussed where Rainbows came from, so I thought that was kind of cool. Added new value for me for why they bust out with the color scheme that they have.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's I think I got all of the crowdsourced questions there. Let's go ahead and transition to my favorite two, and that is, what is your favorite dodgeball memory to date?
I think it's still going to be, and probably always will be, that moment in Australia where Jake kind of pulled me aside and he was like, because we were doing like jersey swaps, which is pretty cool if nobody knows about it at the international level. Like everybody, like on the final day of the tournament, or final day of round robin as well, other players will come up to you and do a jersey swap. And so we kind of got some forewarning ahead of time to like, hey, order about 8 to 10 jerseys, because people, if you're, especially if everybody wants someone else's jersey just to trade.
That's
awesome. Pretty cool. And I was wearing one on that last day in Australia. I was wearing someone else's, I think it was Mackenzie Legacy on Canada. And Jake came up to me at the end of the tournament when they were doing the awards, and he was like, hey, go put your USA jersey on. And I was like, what? And he's like, just go put it on. I'm going to call you up soon. And that's when they gave me the Best and Fairest award. So that was pretty cool. I probably always remember that. I still have the trophy mounted from when it was.
That's awesome. What, and it's my bad for not asking about it more. Best in Fairness, or what was that again?
It was Best and Fairest.
Best and Fairest.
I guess I didn't cheat that much, and
that's good.
Played pretty well. But yeah, I made it a point. I don't know if that helped with the trophy, but I made it a point at the end of every match to go shake hands with the ref, just because I know it's tough. You get yelled at a lot, especially from the coaches, and in my opinion, they were probably like some of the best refs I've ever had, and they knew what was going on, and they called it pretty fair. So I went up to each of them after almost every match to thank them. I don't know if that played a role in the award.
Nice. That's still a very cool thing to do. I mean, yeah, reffing's not the funnest. Not everybody wants to do it. So anytime somebody approaches you, says thanks, hey, I understand it sucks, but appreciate what you're doing. Can't beat that. So that's cool, man. Yeah, Best and Fairest. Okay. So it's not like fairest is in good looks, right? The fairest of them all.
I don't know. I'd have to do my research on
maybe it's both. Fair enough. Cool. And then my last question is, what are you looking forward to the most in 2018? 2018 being, quarter of the way gone already. What else have you got to look forward to?
I don't know. I hope to try to get an invite to the combine I think they're doing for USA this year, and it'll definitely be a good one. And then actually next month, for the May 5th weekend, we'll be bringing a team to Barrie for Canada. So that'll be my first out of the country, besides Mexico, tournament that's like pretty competitive, and it's foam, thankfully. But we'll be bringing a team over there, and so yeah, it'll be more fun instead. It's because it's not like I'll have to like worry about the championships or anything. I mean, we're still gonna try to win, but definitely eases some pressure off to go have fun and have a good 5-day weekend playing dodgeball over there.
Nice. Plus, you don't have the weight of Team USA on your shoulders, right? People aren't gonna be watching you, expecting you to win because it's for America. It's for fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're bringing some heavy hitters to the tournament, so it'll be good to get some chemistry playing with them as well. I'm sure some of them will make the team, if not all of them, because it's going to be me, Eric Stone, Cody Foley, Derek Ketchum, and Nate Crater. So, yeah, it'll be a strong team, and hopefully, I think they're going to bring Team Canada as well, or they usually at least make a pretty strong team to try to win it.
Nice. And so what exactly is this tournament? Is it just like a invitational for anybody, or is it super competitive? Or you said Barrie, but does it have an actual title? Did I miss that?
They call it the National Dodgeball Festival.
Okay.
So I think it's one of the biggest tournaments in the world, because they have I don't know, at least over 100 teams, and they have different divisions. There's a men's division, women's division, and then there's 3 different co-ed divisions where there's intermediate, advanced, and recreational. So you have like I think they just did the like the pools. There's different pools for each division, so they just selected those like I think yesterday. So everybody found out what pool they're in. But yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of teams there.
Nice. Would it be fair to say that this is kind of like almost like a taste of what international championship's going to be? But is this like a good opportunity to kind of scout out some of the Canadian players and see like who Team USA might be facing?
Yeah, I think most of them all played on the team last year, the ones that got selected this year. So we'll know a bunch of them, but there's also a few names on their selection list that I don't know. So it'll be good to see some of them, meet them, and party with them, I guess.
Nice. Do you know if it's going to be streamed at all? Like, is like a Facebook page that's got this broadcasted or is mentioned it? Because
I'm pretty sure it is streamed. I'll have to check on that, but I know. Actually, I'm going to put my money on that it is streamed. If not, we'll definitely be recording everything and post it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely hope you guys have a strong showing. Sounds like you have a monster team, so I would expect a full recap of you guys after you've taken first in a couple weeks, and we can talk about it then perhaps. But cool. I think that's all the questions I got. I did see one more. Just scrolling through the list here, and that was Sergio Leone. He asked, is there anywhere that you would like to travel to play that you haven't been yet before?
Oh, yeah. I've told Stone and Stidham that I want to try to make it out there at some point. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. But yeah, in Minnesota, they got, well, both places where they're at. Stone's in Minnesota. I want to try to make it out there for some of the Twin Cities dodgeball. Maybe even like this last weekend they had to throw down. Maybe do that next year. And then I know Stidham has been asking me since I even started playing foam to come out to Dallas and
nice
go to a tournament down there. So yeah, those are my two things to eventually hit and just play with them again.
Well, considering you've been to Australia, I mean, Dallas and Minnesota should be pretty easy to do. So that's a good locations to set your sights on.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, that's all I got. So we'll go ahead and end the interview there. So that was Dillon Clark-Oden, and really happy to finally bring some more Arizona dodgeball players into the mix with this episode. It's obviously a low-hanging fruit. I definitely did not want people to think that this was just going to be an Arizona-centric podcast, so kind of why I save them for later, but definitely looking forward to bringing out more people from Arizona, especially because they can go back and forth with me a lot more and talk about some good old times, like bringing up Mason Doomtrain Shank. Love when he gets brought up. Anyway, aside from that, don't really have much else to say on this one, other than I appreciate everyone that provided an abundance of questions. You guys always make it fun, especially the dinosaur one. That was kind of funny. Definitely wasn't sure if I wanted to bring that one into the mix, but decided what the hey, why not? And some of these questions are becoming staple ones. Again, huge shout out to Andrew Ketchum. That is a solid question that I'm going to ask people from now on. Same thing with Mark Hellstokes and Serge Leone asking, what kind of songs amp you up. I definitely want to get into, what gets people energized and focused. What are the routines? What are the things that they do to make themselves better? So love it. As always, hit me up anytime with ideas, questions, suggestions, you name it. As long as it's not crazy and time permits, I'm always game. So with that being said, good luck to everybody playing in the LA Classic this weekend. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to recap that. Cannot wait. For everybody else, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Good luck to all the women playing in the LA Classic. And I'm really looking forward to recapping that next week. We'll see you then. That was the weakest conclusion I've ever done. Started out really good. He just effed it up.